Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Hani Chalapansanarula. Great to be back with you and welcoming you to the ASEAN UNESCO Multistakeholder Forum on the governance of digital platforms. And also I'd like to take this opportunity to extend a warm welcome for those of you joining us online via the Facebook page of ETDA Thailand. So for those of you who are here with us in Bangkok or joining us, tuning in from across the region, well, thank you so much for being part of today's conversations. So to formally commence our afternoon program, we're very honored to invite distinguished representatives to deliver the opening remarks and keynote addresses. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to warmly welcome to the stage the Regional Director of the UNESCO Regional Office in Bangkok and Office for UN Coordination for Asia and the Pacific. Please join me in welcoming Her Excellency, Ms. Soohyun Kim. A big hand, please.
Very good afternoon to everyone. Your Excellency, Minister Chaichanok Chidchob, and Mr. Prabhat Agarwal, and Excellencies, colleagues, and dear friends. It is indeed a privilege to welcome all of you to Bangkok, a city that has become a crossroads for global dialogue on our digital future. Just a few months ago in June, Bangkok hosted the UNESCO Global Forum on the Ethics of AI. Leaders from every region came together to affirm one principle. Technology must serve humanity and not the other way around. Today, ASEAN carries that spirit forward. Over the past day and until this morning, we have begun this essential work of weighing opportunities against risks and ambition against responsibility. Allow me to sharpen the picture with a few numbers. 286 million, 117 million, 102 million, and 71 million. These are the populations of Indonesia, the Philippines, Vietnam, and Thailand. Now, consider 3.2 billion, 3 billion, 2.7 billion. These are the user bases of the three largest digital platforms. This is the scale of the challenge before us. A handful of companies command audiences many, many times larger than any nation. They shape how billions of people learn, communicate, and decide. And across Southeast Asia, digital platforms are lifelines for disaster alerts, health advice, livelihoods. But they can also spread misinformation, inflame division, and weaken accountability. It's already hard to know what we can believe online, and the explosive growth of AI-generated content makes it even harder. The cost of inaction is measured in polarization, mistrust, and erosion of the very systems that sustain public life. So the question is, not whether to govern these spaces. The question is how. And the answer cannot come from governments alone, nor from companies alone. It demands a whole of society approach, regulators and innovators, industry and academia, civil society and citizens working all together in shared responsibility. By convening regional discussions on digital platform governance, ASEAN is fostering the kind of cooperation needed to protect people and to contribute meaningfully to global debates. And by working with partners such as the European Union, ASEAN ensures that regional diversity is matched with universal principles. For UNESCO, it is an honor to support this effort. Our guidelines for the governance of digital platforms launched in 2023, and the UN Global Principles for Information Integrity, launched last year, both call for governance rooted in human rights, transparency, accountability, and user empowerment. As you continue the deliberations, I urge you to keep 3 questions in mind. First, how can ASEAN cooperation reduce the asymmetries of power between global platforms and national regulators? Second, how can safety online be strengthened without silencing plural and open spaces? And third, how will we measure success? Not by compliance alone, but by the trust of the people who use these platforms every day. At the core are 2 rights: the right to be heard and the right to know. Protecting these rights will decide the integrity of elections, the safety of children online, the survival of independent media, and the trust that binds our societies together. Colleagues, this forum is not about control. It is about building accountability, transparency, and trust. It is about ensuring that technology serves what unites us, the public good. And this forum is an important step on that path. Let us use these days not only to share perspectives, but to build common purpose, common principles, and common action. I wish you productive discussions, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Soohyun Kim, for those insightful remarks and highlighting the importance of collaborative efforts in shaping a more responsible digital future. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to invite Mr. Prabhat Agarwal, Acting Director for Online Platforms, Society and Directorate-General for Communication Networks, Content and Technology, or DG Connect, European Commission, to deliver the opening speech. A big round of applause, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, Excellency, dear Minister, it's a real pleasure to be here. My name is Prabhat Agarwal. I work for the European Commission, and I'm really honored to be here on behalf of the European Union to participate in this really important ASEAN UNESCO Multistakeholder Forum today. I was one of the lead authors behind the European Union's Digital Services Act, not alone, of course, with many other colleagues, and I'd like to just make a few short remarks in 3 parts. Just first, I want to just look backward for a second, because being here with you in Bangkok today, for me, is really incredible, because looking back on where we started, and now sitting here with you and Thailand's digital agencies, as well as with the ASEAN countries, is for me a real milestone. So I'll start by looking backwards a little bit. I'll tell you a little bit where we are at the moment in the European Union in our journey. It's a journey. It's not something that you will ever finish or we will ever finish. It's going to be a journey that we hopefully will be able to do also together with you. And then I'll end a little bit with some remarks on where I think the journey might be going. Of course, as Woody Allen said, you know, predictions about the future are kind of very cheap to make, and nobody knows how to get it right. So, Excellencies, let me start by looking backwards a little bit. We in the European Union, we started the project of regulating or governing the online platform economy around 2015. Actually, one of the colleagues who is now in charge of our international work here, sitting in the audience, Menno Cox, was one of the first people who thought along with us about how can this new phenomenon that is now become so central in everybody's lives be governed correctly. And of course, the big difference, and I said it this morning as well, the big difference with television or radio or broadcast or newspapers is, of course, that here these platforms intermediate. They intermediate billions of people across the world with tens of billions of items of content. And of course, one way of looking at the digital platforms is that in our lives, our attention space is very limited. And these platforms, they serve us from the sea, from the ocean of information that is in front of us, using their algorithms, the things that they think are most interested in. So governing this new type of intermediary was a real challenge, also because unlike banks or energy sectors or other utilities, all of these platforms are very different. Whether you use YouTube or Wikipedia or TikTok, they're all very different, whereas my bank accounts, they all look very similar. And so having a framework that recognizes the diversity, but also puts down meaningful change markers was one of the challenges that we took on. When we started, there weren't many partners we could talk to. There were colleagues in Australia who had been working on this. There were some early thoughts in the United Kingdom around that. And there was a lot of activity going on, and I need to do justice to this, to people who have been thinking about this for longer than we have in the civil society space or in academia, who have been really been partners for the European Union in designing the digital framework that is now the Digital Services Act, along with other regulations like the Digital Markets Act and the more recent AI regulatory framework that we have in the EU. Where are we now? So we have finished our law 2 years ago, and we've been spending 2 years in implementing the law and setting up the enforcement structures that we have. This has been a major task, and our ambition has been set by our political leadership to be one of the world's most advanced digital regulators. We invested in our own capacity for being able to analyze platforms' algorithms with the European Center of Algorithmic Transparency. It's a major investment. Just to set up, we invested 14 million euros in building out this capacity in terms of recruiting Europe's top data scientists into working for us, having the infrastructure to be able to understand and analyze platforms' algorithms and content moderation practices. And we have opened a number of investigations, but crucially also cooperated with on a huge number of successful changes that platforms have been making. Let me give you 3 examples. One is the focus area we have on protection of minors. Here, there has been a huge change already prior to the arrival of the Digital Services Act, where for the first time 2 years ago, platforms actually put in place new measures to ensure that only kids of a certain age can access certain types of platform content online. We think these changes are not perfect by far, and they still need to be improved. But prior to the DSA, we believe that no platform was taking this issue seriously across the world. And these changes, and this is also something that I'm quite proud of, have been replicated throughout the world and not just limited to the EU. A second area of our work, and this has been more cooperative, was to understand better how the algorithms are designed for these different platforms and how they function exactly. Earlier this year, we compelled X to retain all its internal documents related to changes of its algorithm, and we, because we had suspicions that the recommender algorithm used by that social media platform was not sufficiently transparent. Similarly, we have investigations going on against TikTok on addictive design of their service, on whether kids are exposed to so-called rabbit hole effects, where when they get interested in one kind of content, they get served the same kind of content in amplification mode. Often, and this is something that I already said this morning, the issue is not about one single piece of content, but of course, if you get chains of thousands of different videos that tell you to harm yourself or engage in eating practices that are unhealthy, collectively and cumulatively, this can be a big problem. Our second area, therefore, that we have been focusing on was the protection of minors. And the third element that I just want to raise, because I know this is also a very big concern here, is the area of e-commerce in general. The platforms are an area by which many people now, particularly post-COVID, are doing their shopping online, and we have to absolutely make sure that it's as difficult as possible for sellers on such platforms to sell non-compliant goods to consumers who may not have the skills or the knowledge to check whether every detail of what they're buying is according to the rules and the norms. Consumers in the European Union legitimately expect what they buy, also via online marketplaces, to be compliant with Europe's high safety standards when it comes to toys or medical products and so on. These are all areas where we can learn from others. One of the main reasons why we are here, and it was a real delight to be here in the discussions yesterday and already this morning, is that we're not coming here as the European Union to tell others how they should be doing their own work, but we are here also to listen and to learn to your experiences. There is a huge amount of diversity in the world of experiences and different problems, and we will have many things in common, but you will also be more advanced in many other areas than we are. So we come here also really with a desire to listen and to learn and to share what we can share from the experiences that we've had so far. Where are we going? This is my third point. So I think that looking ahead, I see three particular areas where we are going. Increased cooperation and engagement is really important. And on cooperation, I just want to say that because I've had the privilege of seeing an advanced copy of it, that heads of states and governments of the European Union will meet in Brussels this week on Thursday and Friday. And the cooperation at international level in areas of digital regulation and policy is going to be on the agenda and will be discussed. And I'm reasonably certain that leaders of the European Union will conclude that greater cooperation at the international level with international partners is going to be paramount in the next phase of the governance of this space. So we are certainly going towards an area of greater cooperation and engagement. We also have to invest in deeper understanding and anticipation. And of course, this is also where sharing experiences and learning from others is so important. Often, there will be things that you will see first in Thailand or in ASEAN, and that will, new services will perhaps be used here first. Your populations, your kids will be using platforms in ways that our kids may not be doing yet, but maybe soon. So we really have every interest in deepening our shared understanding and anticipating where we're going on. Our third focus is going to be to increase our capacity. It's not our only individual capacity, but understanding, having built out a center that tries to understand and analyze algorithms, we have now understood how hard it is to do this. And we don't believe that many regulators across the world can build up similar centers by themselves. It's much better to pool experiences and resources and expertise. So this is something that we really also look forward. I conclude by just reminding you that we are here supporting the ASEAN and the UNESCO Forum, and we have been doing so with great pleasure, and it has been a great cooperation so far, and we look forward to greater cooperation. I wanted to just say, because I know that there are also colleagues from the European Union in the audience, our work is under intense scrutiny at home and also abroad. We are subject to a very, very tight scrutiny from our own parliament and from the courts. Everything that we do is scrutinized in the media through hearings, and of course is subject to very strict judicial review. We also know that some international partners have expressed concern about the Digital Services Act and its potential impact on freedom of expression. This is why we have been stressing both to UNESCO and ASEAN from the beginning, when we started this work 5 years ago, the importance to have frameworks that are fully compliant with international human rights norms. And we look forward to continuing this work, because this is one of our conditions to be able to engage with international partners, is that it is very difficult for us to engage internationally if those values and norms are not respected. But I have no concern that these norms may be violated in the work that is in front of us at the moment with particularly the UNESCO guidelines and the work that is in progress right now with the ASEAN guidelines, which we will look forward to supporting as well. Excellencies, Minister, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a real pleasure to already listen to the first half of this conference, and I look forward to the second half of the conference. And with that, I wish to end you assuring our continued support. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prabhat Agarwal, for those remarks. As we see the EU's vital role in advancing transparency, accountability, and responsible innovation, values that resonate with ASEAN's vision for digital cooperation. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, today we're very honored to hear from our keynote speaker. It is my distinct privilege to invite His Excellency Chaichanok Chidchob, Minister of Digital Economy and Society of Thailand, to deliver the keynote address. Please join me in welcoming the Minister of Digital Economy and Society.
Wow. Being the third speaker after those two, whew, what a challenge. Greeting, guys. So, dear Ms. Maki Kasuno, Hayashi Kikawa, Ms. Soohyun Kim, Mr. Prabhat Agarwal, and distinguished guests. Good afternoon. I'm honored to be speaking today at the launch of this important ASEAN UNESCO Multistakeholder Forum of Governance of Digital Platforms here in Bangkok. Especially honored since this is the biggest event I've been able to be a part of since my long experience, since being appointed of, I think, 28 days as minister now. In an age where a single click connects people across borders, digital platforms now define how we live, work, and engage. They have become the infrastructure of society and not merely tools. For me especially, I believe that technology is no longer convenience, and the systems are no longer just to improve our daily lives, but we now require it as a necessity, and therefore security should be something that is given importance to. With their rapid expansion, digital platforms bring growing risk, driven by fast-moving technologies, algorithms operating as black boxes, the broad harvesting of user data, and the rising spread of scams, misinformations, and abuse. Across ASEAN, both governments and users face threats that cross national borders. No single country, nor any single sector can tackle these challenges alone. This underscores why the governance of digital platform must rest on shared principles, multi-stakeholders participations, and above all, collective action. Government platforms, civil society, academia, and users all must play their parts. This forum is timely. Making digital platforms safe spaces while equipping users with digital resilience and literacy is essential. A genuine whole-of-society approach is vital. Governments, industry, civil society, and citizens must all be engaged. To reflect ASEAN's aspirations for transparency, fairness, accountability, and online safety, Thailand therefore urges ASEAN, UNESCO, and the European Union to advance a joint program on digital platform governance, beginning with a focused push on combating online scams. Scams are not only financial crimes. They undermine trust, erode inclusion, and imperil the digital economy. In this regional context, the establishment of ASEAN Working Group on Anti-Online Scams in 2024 and the endorsement of the Bangkok Digital Declaration at the 5th ASEAN Digital Minister meeting in January 2025 marks concrete and coordinated steps towards a safer digital region. These milestones show the ASEAN recognizes the threat and that we must now move from dialogue to action. Thailand stands ready to deepen collaborations, sharing policy frameworks, enhancing transparency, obligations for platforms, coordinating across banking, telecom, and law enforcement, and empowering users with literacy and awareness. We look towards UNESCO's norm setting and capacity building expertise and the EU's experience in digital platform regulations to enrich and guide our regional approach. Our national efforts and regional agenda go hand in hand. As we engage with the draft ASEAN Digital Economy Framework Agreement, or DIFA, and the ASEAN Digital Master Plan 2030, our goal is a digital ecosystem that is registered, accountable, and inclusive. Ladies and gentlemen, looking ahead, there are also promising developments at global level. As head of delegation, I will attend the signing ceremony of the United Nations Convention Against Cybercrime and the high-level conference in Hanoi in Vietnam in the next couple of days. This convention, the first global treaty on cybercrime, provides a comprehensive framework to strengthen cooperation, harmonize legal standards, and enhance cross-border efforts to address cyber threats in the digital era. I believe you guys can see by now that I'm not very good at reading script. So to commemorate our very first meeting, I would really like to speak with you guys open-heartedly a little bit regarding the current situation that we're facing in Thailand. Seeing as Mr. Prabhat said that he'd like we should be sharing experiences so that we can all learn from each other. I believe the current situation in Thailand serves for a very important lesson for us all. I believe in the past we have been underestimating and we have been slightly complacent with the issue of cybercrime. And I believe over the years it has taken root quite deeply. The issue is that the roots of this issue within a country, the nutrients for the roots, is not only the wealth or the GDP of the country, but it's the livelihood and the well-being of the very people that we're up here to represent. On top of that, the people lose trust in governing bodies, be it groups, lawmakers, government officials, when these roots take place, making it even harder for us to combat these issues that I believe we're all facing globally. However, having heard the speakers of today and seeing the actions of many groups that have taken, especially recently, to combat these crimes and the events that are going to be happening in a couple of days, I must say that I have hope, and I believe that if combated together, this is something that we can really overcome. For the online world, we have no borders, and for the risks and experiences that we're facing, it's something that is a risk that is also applicable to all nations across the world. All in all, Thailand is honored to walk alongside our partners, bridging global norms with regional realities. With firmer resolves, together, let us shape a digital future that is open, safe, and empowering for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for those remarks. Sharing Thailand's vision for a more secure, transparent and trusted digital ecosystem. Please kindly remain on stage as next we'll be commemorating this special moment. So we'll have the official photo session coming up in just a few moments with the Minister of Digital Economy and Society of Thailand, His Excellency Mr. Chaichanok Chidchob, already on the stage. So without further ado, may I invite Ms. Soohyun Kim, Regional Director of the UNESCO Regional Office in Bangkok, an office for UN coordination for Asia and the Pacific, to kindly join us. Also, may I invite Ms. Maki Katsuno Hayashikawa, Director of the UNESCO Liaison Office to ASEAN. And once again, I'd like to warmly invite Mr. Prabhat Agarwal, Acting Director for Online Platform Society and Directorate-General for Communications Networks, Content and Technology from the European Commission. And we will now mark this moment on camera. The photo captures not only the distinguished representatives, I would say, but also this is the spirit of partnership that basically defines the forum, and also the shared commitment that we see to have digital governance here in ASEAN and beyond. We're at day one of the ASEAN UNESCO Multistakeholder Forum on the governance of digital platforms, which truly represents a shared commitment between Thailand, ASEAN, UNESCO, the EU, and global partners to shape a digital environment that is open, accountable, and safe. So this gathering is more than a meeting of the minds, but it is about collaboration where governments, international institutions, policymakers, regulators, think tanks come together to find the common ground and share solutions for a digital future. And in our next picture moment, I'd like to call upon to the stage Kun Chayawatt Junthirapong. Please kindly join us. Kun Kalaya China Thiwon, Principal Advisor for Foreign Affairs from the Ministry of Digital Economy and Society, Thailand. Also, we're very glad to have Mr. Chaichanok Mitpan, Executive Director from the Electronic Transactions Development Agency of ETDA, Thailand, who will be joining us in this next picture moment. So please kindly look at the official photographer and of course our media friends who came to cover the opening session today. And don't forget to share a big smile, a symbol of friendship and shared purpose under one digital vision. And that's it for the opening session. We'd like to thank our online viewers for joining us. Thank you so much. But the afternoon program continues right here in a conversation that will be a step towards progress, and the partnerships captured here will continue to guide how the region moves forward together.